Alright, I'm going to do a video of these amazing albums that I got and the photos. I'm going to do two videos. Actually, I might just do one. I mean, there's another pile of pictures. I'll go through those. I'll just make this a longer video. Just to give you a quick run over the picture, there's quite a few of these pictures that have Providence pictures on them too. As you can see, there's writing, some on the backs. Just going to go over these real quick so you can see them. I would say they date, I have some tin photos in here, metal ones. I would say we're dating somewhere between the 1860s all the way up into the early 19 teens, maybe 20s on some of them. I'd say those are probably the oldest. We'll get to the albums. To me, these are the amazing ones. Some of these are in better shape than others. A couple of them have bad bindings. The insides are ratty on a couple, but the display value is just amazing. This one here is, I believe it's embroidered leather. The lock works perfect, kind of like a horseshoe style lock there. All the brass is in place. The binding is really good on this one, as is the back. I would say this is probably the one that's in the best shape on the outside. Then you will see a little mark here, but good corners, solid. There's no date in these. I saw very similar ones that were dated into the 1880s to 1904. So I'm not exactly sure about that, but you can see it's got really nice color. It's been closed for a long time. The paper is a little brittle. You'll see some chipping, and on the edges where the photos go in, you'll see a little staining. Like such, but the cardboard still got viability. Some of the little paper inserts that split the pictures is missing. And like I said, you're going to see some of these that are torn on the bottom as we go through. This one is one of the split albums. It's got this one is the one that had most of the tin photos that I'm posting. Again, you're going to see some that have areas that are dried out, but overall it is in good condition. It's just a split album with some ovals, squares, whatnot, bigger ones in the back, and then none of the pages were written on, and very white index pages. But this album here is in really good shape. I would say probably the best. The next one here, this one's the most unique one. They're hard to find them with these mirrors that are still intact and not broken, and that looks completely original. Very beautiful brass outlings. You can see some of the binding, here. This is like a brass piece that's pressed on it into the fabric. So I mean, that's not like that's chipped off. This is just really elegant, really a pretty piece. It has a hanger on it, and this has one of the very nice kind of spring-loaded locks that actually works great. As you see, very detailed. The seam of this one's pretty nice too. You'll see this greening effect though. I'm not sure if that was just the aging of this fabric, as it gets a little, I don't think it's mold, but just so you know, I'm not exactly sure. The binding is really nice on this. You can see the discoloration, but it's all intact. Little fraying on the end there. This one's got a really unique interior though. It's kind of like a wood paneling. Really couldn't find much to compare this to, honestly. They go through, like I said, you still got the chipping on some of them. This binding here is a little loose and frail, as you can see, but everything's in it when it's closed and you stack it right. It all lines up. You got a few smaller ones in the back. It pretty much stays uniform through till you get here, or a few small ones. But yeah, this one's really nice and in good condition too, with all the hardware here. And like I said, once you close it, you can see it's a little off, but if you just take the time to line it up good, close it properly, push the seam together like so, it lines up perfect with no issues. It closes good. So This one's another one that's in really good condition. And like I said, all the hardware works. It locks very tight. Very, very nice one. This one's another one. Got a, I think this is going to be more of a, maybe a light leather, as you can see, thin. This one has a little more fraying on the edges. The binding is intact though, pretty solid. Still got some beautiful color on here. I think that's what makes this one just really nice, is I can't believe all the sunflower, if that's what that is, colors on it. This has just an amazing vintage look and feel to it. I almost, when I first saw it, thought it was a Bible. Like this seams together good, just fraying on the edges. Again, this piece here works perfect. So all the elaborate, brass pieces are very tight, pressed on, never came off. You'll see the spotting in this one pretty much all the way through. This is how this one looks. It does have tears, picture holder and avenues. At some time I would assume someone pulled the pictures out, and these usually broke. These were, if you know about these, usually once you put the pictures in, they were a real pain to get back out, especially 100 years later once this cardboard got a little frail. But you'll see some of these were clearly never used. Some of them broke out, but after about 5 or 6 on this one, you see these are in really good shape. So then you get to the back of this book, you've got a few 4-cell pages, each, and then to the end. And like I said, you'll see a little spotting here if you look close. I'm not sure what people would call that, but it's in really great shape. Again, this one has amazing feel, amazing color. Maybe a little more fraying, but it really does bring that the vintage feel to it with the color, and very clean binding. Just a great look. Those first 3 are amazing. The next 2 are probably the roughest conditions. I even think these are probably the earlier ones. This one had album written on it at some point, maybe even had some bedazzling on it. I don't know what you would call it back then, but this one completely has the binding destroyed. So this one's again, someone might want to use it for parts, or maybe they want to just redo the binding just for the old feel and look. The hardware is amazing, perfect condition, works great, no issues at all. It opens up good. Like I said, you open it up and the binding is gone. A couple of strings there, but you get here and it's got the normal cell pages on it. Some of those are, this one's got a lot of browning in it, a few rounds, the arched, whatnot. It's pretty much like that all the way to the back. But again, this one's pretty much in pieces, but it'd still be a great little display piece for anybody that just wanted to put it on a table or create a new binding, use the hardware off the book. I mean, whatever your cup of tea is with it, but it's definitely not in mint condition, and it's going to need some work unless you're just wanting to display it on a table like that, which with some of these old pictures could be a very nice idea too. Last but not least, we've got the old red. I can't 100% make out what that says. I've tried to look at it and go over it. It almost looks like it might be in French, but I'm not completely sure. But there was some writing on this one time, and this is like a cloth. It's not leather, almost like a cotton or something fabric, like a t-shirt, but you can see how it's frayed up, and it's like an old wood binding, which I thought that was really neat personally. This fabric was wrapped around wood. This one has beautiful hardware. I mean, just beautiful, tacked in, still in place, never removed. The binding on this is nice, still very intact. A few frays, but nothing too bad. Just to give you a good look at it. So we'll open this up. hard to do with one hand. There we go. And that's just a beautiful opening page. You see the colors well. Not a lot of spotting on this. Very white on the inside, and this had like a weird, you know, to describe this, it's almost like a plasticky feel. So I don't know what they used on it, some kind of acid-free parchment or something. But either way, here's the album, and it's kind of like the other ones. You got the arched, and like I said, this binding is really tight on this one. I mean, this one's very solid album. It goes all the way to the back, like so. The end, you got some round ones. This probably has the most damage and feels very brittle on these back here. So if there's any damage in it, it's going to be the last few pages of the smaller cells. A little chipping on that right there. But then just a very, very nice piece. There's a little splitting right here on the back on that one. But again, 4 of these are in really good shape for the age. They would really show well, you know, in a environment for, you know, people wanting to show their old photos or nostalgia or, you know, stuff like that. Let me go over these photos real quick. There's all kinds in here. There are children and elderly and couples and families. I don't really see any military or guns or any ethnicity, Asian, African American, much like that. Most of these seem to be from Connecticut that I had seen in these albums. Some do have some provenance writing on them. Nothing that I really got into and looked up myself, but if you're into that thing, you might find a couple of pieces to research. These here are all on like cardstock kind of stuff. Yeah. Like that one's dated 1914, 1849, you know, all kinds of stuff. A little bit of the writing you can see on there. Grandfather, it says. Grandmother's sister, Hannah. So, you know, all the old writing. I'll just keep running this video, and I'm going to show you the rest of the photos. I'll bring them up here, and we'll just kind of go through them together and not lay them out. We got some the old metal frames. Some of these are in better shape than others. Some of them have some creases. Some of them, I believe the term has burnout on them, which, as you can see, the picture starts to go away from being stored improperly. I think that's about all the metal ones. I want to make sure. So yeah, let's go over the metal ones. Really just neat. These, if I'm not mistaken, would be the older ones, 1830s to 1860s, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but as you can see, some of these are not flat, but just really cool. You know, you can see the light creases in them from being in the albums. This one was, actually, that one may not be metal. That one might be a really hard plastic. Same time period, probably, in between the transition, but just really cool pictures. Take pictures of those, but yeah, we'll just, you know, you got this, all kinds of the small cells that came out of the books or were just sitting in there, like so. Might be Billy the Kid, right? Yeah, okay. Just amazing, you know, amazing photos. Little John Travolta wannabe. And yeah, there's a few sceneries. You know, that one's another Providence one, something about grandfather of Leicester, London. That one's dated 1906. So yeah, just a lot of really unique stuff here. I'm just gonna go through them all, and just so you can have a little brief picture here. This is I know this is a ridiculously long video, but to get all this stuff in it, I wanted you to make sure you saw everything that was coming and get a good, a good view of it. I'm going to get these up and get a picture also, so you'll see everything also in the auction, but some of these are a little clearer than others. I've always been told the ones that are more faint like this were the ones that were done in the lighter inks and are probably a little older. Again, I'm not really a older photo kind of guy, but when I see them, I just can't pass them up just to keep them in circulation and get them in the hands of people that'll take care of these and display them, or even take the time to find a few family members that might be found through Ancestry or something like that. But yeah, lots of kids, lots of young ladies and gentlemen. A lot of these are from Connecticut, and I'm not sure if this was like a particular family album. A lot of these in this pile were in the same album here. I wish I knew more about it, but I don't. And as I said, no military, no guns, no real ethnicities to speak of that were in these albums. So pretty cut and dry. Just really neat and really interesting stuff. Again, just so you can see the back, Bronson, Bridgeport, Connecticut. I mean, that's where a lot of this collection's from. So no overseas stuff that I saw, although I can't really tell where these from. They kind of correlate with these, so I would say it's all American. And that's really it. So I'm going to put this up at a 99-cent no reserve auction in the hopes that it finds the right person. Have a good night.